What's up, guys? It's John Dominique, the Soul Proponent. Today, I want to talk about either being on the path or being off the path. There's a huge difference. Some people can't seem to tell the difference. I run into people on like these website forums and like even the traditional Christians. They think the path is about believing in Jesus. And I question them and I say, the truth sets us free. And they believe that Jesus is the truth that sets them free. Well, then you question, how can you believe in Jesus? How can you have a conviction? How can you be attached to your belief in Jesus and be free at the same time? And they can never answer the question. I don't think I've ever got one solid, honest answer from anybody about that. They tend to just want to gloss it over, sweep it under the rug, pretend it's not important, because what's important is that they believe in Jesus and that believing in Jesus will get them to heaven. That they continue to believe that. They think if they try hard enough, it'll be true. Maybe not. But, they have to wait until they're dead to find out, and that's missing the entire point. You can't really experience, what the path is supposed to be unless you're alive. The path is here for people who are alive. It's here for life and life abundant. It's not for death. So, you can experience it when you're dead, but that misses the point, because it's here to enhance our life as we live it now, here in this moment. And waiting till we're dead to get to heaven is a big misconception. It's a big error. It's a mistake, because we miss out on the abundance of life while we live, which is what it's made for. So to wait until we're dead to get to heaven to find out if Jesus is the truth that sets us free is not the way to go about it. Because what I'm talking about here, you're either on the path or off the path. And when I'm saying on the path, I'm saying check for yourself in your own experience to see if the truth sets you free. I'm not saying wait until something happens in the future for that to happen. I'm saying do it now. And the path is a nowness, it's a here-ness, it's a peeling away, a reducing process of elimination. Now, if we go on this path, it's almost kind of predictable. You can see that people will resist. There will be resistance to taking the path. And that resistance comes in the form of attachment. It comes in the form of, stubbornness is one way to say it. Not wanting to let go, or holding on. And very intense and very passionate about this attachment. And, you're on the path or you're off the path. The truth sets you free, but if you're going to be more attached to your beliefs and your ideas and the way you think things should be, you want to be right, you have a self-image to be someone, that knows God, etc., etc. If we're attached to that, that's not the path, because the truth sets us free. So a lot of traditional Christianity, they have it backwards, upside down, without even knowing on an unconscious level. Most people don't know this. They don't know any better. And when they know about this, when I tell them about it, they'll say, oh, yeah, that's good to know. But they tend to resort to going right back to believing even harder and doubling down on their beliefs. That's the tendency, because they want to resist again. They don't want to be aware that they don't have the path, that they're going in the wrong direction, and that they're not experiencing the truth that sets them free. It's difficult to accept that, because it seems like it's going to create more pain. They're not going to know what to do. And we have to be careful, because that's going to a lot of times create even more, might make things worse, because that the tendency of the ego personalities is to judge itself for judging itself, and wants to pretend that it's not pretending. It wants to believe these preposterous ideas, that a man died and rose from the grave, that believing in this man will get them to heaven, and when they die, everything will be good. There's nothing, I'm not saying that's wrong or bad. Everybody believes according to what they believe is true. But a lot of times we take what's false for the truth. And that means, if we do that, we'll be even in a more of a darker place. But again, most people don't know that they're doing that. But on the path to truth is a letting go and a reversing of these attachments and these ideas and these beliefs of who we take ourselves to be. We want to be a good Christian. That's one self-image, and then we're attached to that self-image. And then we're attached to our attachments. And so we have a reaction. And that's not pure being. That's coming from a place of needing to do something, needing to acquire, needing to search, needing to seek, needing to look forward, needing to have a sense of support, a solidity, and to be concrete, to make oneself definite. Those are the tendencies of the ego. And that's the enemy. And a lot of times we're only increasing that. So if we're judging ourselves, when we see that, we tend to judge ourselves for that and make things worse. And we're reacting to the way that we're reacting. And that's making things worse. So the first thing to do is just be aware that that's happening, and then to let go of the reaction, not needing to do anything about it. Just be with it in its entirety. We could start with something small. Maybe someone does something at work that you don't like. Maybe you can just try to, once the next couple times that happens, just not react to it and just allow it to happen, and then live your life without these reactions, and seeing how these, understanding and seeing how these reactions control us and dominate our lives and govern our behavior. And we do that consistently, and we work our way up to bigger matters until we get to the point where we don't react at all. Like there's a sense of being, a calmness, being in the eye of the storm. So, yeah, that's how we determine between staying on the path and being on the path or off the path. We look at how much freedom we're experiencing, how much we're not reacting. And if we find ourselves attached, then that's where we start. And we have to start that's where we are, understand and not judge ourselves for it, and not be attached to our judgments and our need to control our reactions and our attachments, and not try to control the need to control. That's how we begin. So being on the path is, it takes work, a lot of heavy, dedicated work, going into areas that we'd rather not be aware of. So, the identity itself is a way to avoid these areas that we'd rather not be aware of. And that one area that gets everybody is the identity, and losing attachments to the identity, and the emptiness, facing the emptiness in its entirety. So for facing emptiness, we know we're on the path. There's blackness, there's emptiness. Nobody wants to deal with it. But that's one of the costs of walking the path of the soul. We know if we're experiencing emptiness, we're on the path. We know if we're trying to avoid emptiness, we're not on the path. It's pretty simple and basic, but people don't really actually want to put it into practice. In theory, they say, okay, yeah, if I continue to practice non-attachment and then apply non-attachment to non-attachment, that will get me to the truth that sets me free. But who actually does that is the question. And people will prove it. I can't prove it. A lot of atheists that I run into, they want me to prove it. And that's not, so the way to prove it is that you can't get the proof. You become the proof. You have to walk the path. You give the evidence. You don't get the evidence. It's the opposite. It's a total upside down reverse. And people don't want to see that. They say, oh, it's preposterous. It can't be. No way. That's stupid. You're so dumb. It sounds like I'm making fun of them, or I'm taking them like they're ignorant or something. That's not my point. My point is to try the path and to continue trying the path without you have to be totally sincere, totally honest, totally dedicated to continue to do it. And people say, "Oh, I tried it and it didn't work." Yeah. So if you tried it and you stopped, then you're not on the path. That's kind of the thing about it. And the sincerity, the honesty, the dedication, the fortitude, it all has to be there. I can't do it for you. It's like a personal thing. We each have to do it for ourselves. There's no way for me to give you any evidence of it. You have to go and do the work and experience that truth that sets you free for yourself. There's no other way. People don't like that. They'd rather it be another way. Oh, I'd rather have something in my back pocket I could just give to you to give you. If you don't have that, then forget it. That's how people think. But that's not it. That's not the way. That's not the path. So you can tell if you're on the path by the practices. It's the observe, what you can observe for yourself on the path, and it's repeatable. But people, they'd rather not do any of it. They'd rather just talk about it, complain that there's no God, and then just ask for evidence of God, and they're stuck in their head, the mentality. And the thing about it with these atheists is that the truth that sets us free, it's not something that's tangible. It's not something you could actually. It's kind of like it's subjective, is the word I want to say. It's not objective. You have to go and experience it for yourself in your own experience. So yeah, these atheists, a lot of them, and then like these traditional Christians, you can tell they're not on the path. So there's a big difference between walking the path and not walking the path. And I always ask that at the beginning when I interact with these type of people, like, are you wanting to walk the path for yourself? If not, then don't bother me. I'm not here to argue with you all day in our heads going round and round in circles until we're blue in the face. I don't have time for that. If you want to walk the path, there's examples, there's practices. Someone can help you walk it with as being a guide. That's what I'm here for, to guide people. But I'm not here to actually argue, and people can't get over their trips. They can't get over whatever issues they have in order to walk the path, because there's so many doubts and so many questions. I'm not here to answer. I'm here to help people walk the path so they can find out those answers for themselves. That's what this is about. And it's easy to tell who's walking the path and who's not. And here's the thing about it. I ask these atheists and these traditional Christians, are you actually walking the path? Or do you want to walk the path? And they never really answer the question. And I ask them multiple times. I'm like, if you don't answer this question, don't bother with me. And they keep asking me questions and wanting to try to interact with me without actually answering the question. I mean, I can tell right then and there they're not interested in walking the path. They're off the path. They don't want to walk the path. So, I have information to provide to them. I'll give them information if they're being honest and sincere. I can tell by their attitude if they're being honest and sincere about wanting to walk the path. But, it's pretty easy for me to tell, at least, who's wanting to walk the path and who's not, and who's on the path and who's not. And walking the path of the soul, this is important to distinguish between if we're off the path or if we're on the path. John Dominique, the Soul Proponent.